Have you ever faced a fear to get a shot?
Oh my gosh, we're going so fast.
Descending.
I face a fear like pretty much every day when we go on. Afraid of heights, afraid of barfing, afraid of bears, afraid of ticks.
Oh, you're afraid of all the things. Anyway, well, I faced one of mine. One of my few fears, actually.
We survived.
We did survive.
Our first remote, dedicated camping trip. We did it. High five.
They need to know what we survived if they haven't seen the series. It's a 5-part series where we flew our helicopter north across the Canadian border, camped on some random islands, and came back down. Now, we're not really outdoors people, so I guess today we're gonna talk about, is it gonna be 5 things we learned on this trip?
The first thing we learned was that we actually do really like camping, but we don't really know how to be bored.
We spent 2 nights, 3 days on the first island. The second day, like you got up for sunrise, didn't you?
Yeah.
Literally had the whole entire day, and we already had our camp set up. We had already
Eaten breakfast.
Yeah, so it's kind of just like, what do you do?
We did bring some movies on the iPad for nighttime. We brought a pack of cards that we completely forgot about.
Looking back on it, it was definitely really enjoyable. We spent a lot of time just like sitting around, we slept. Yesterday was almost like kind of the best case use scenario where it's like you get up, you have your coffee, your breakfast, tear down, fly somewhere else, you set up, you have a little swim, you eat your dinner, and then you're done. And it's like a full day of activities wrapped up in like, you know, a thing where there's not a whole lot of downtime, but enough to be enjoyable. Maybe we need to go with friends, or maybe we need to switch campsites every day. Yesterday felt like it went fast and like it was like fun, even though we were really tired. Like the day before was a nice relaxing time, but I was definitely bored, feeling it out.
Yeah.
Not to say we didn't have fun, we had a blast.
No, exactly.
But it would definitely, the day seemed to drag on.
Isn't just like being bored kind of recharging?
I think it's important as a creative to take time to force yourself to be bored, because I think that's when your best ideas kind of pop up. Unfortunately, in this scenario, it was just so hot that the sun was kind of melting our brains, and we were just like,
Oh my god. Show the picture.
yeah, I'll show the picture. You have like a nose goblin up there. It's great. So we actually prepared for the goal. We were gonna go camping for like 5 or 6 nights. We ended up doing 3 nights, 4 days. We tapped out, not because we were bored, but actually because there was some pretty bad weather in the forecast. I'm gonna say 1.5 thing that I learned is I learned how to pee standing up. You have to drop trow to your ankles and squat to pee. Now when the mosquitoes are bad, that really sucks. When it's cold out, that also really sucks. When there are people around, that really sucks. So I bought this pee funnel for emergencies, ended up using a ton on this trip, and it was so handy.
This is our pooping kit. It's in a Peak design bag. Show me your prosthetic dong.
Clearly I've never peed standing up before, have you?
Nippers
Are you reading the instructions on how to use the prosthetic dong?
Do I like drop trow to my knees?
No, I mean, if you were like a 6-year-old kid.
The instructions said that I was supposed to try in the bathroom before coming out here.
Yeah, you didn't do that, did you?
I forgot all about it. Okay, I gotta pee.
So I learned how to pee standing up. It was different, but great, and definitely will be keeping that in the kit.
All right, well, let's get our pee done, and I gotta change my clothes and get our bear canisters over away from our tent. But
I'm in a cartoon mode.
I know, you've been wearing the same pants
Same
all
clothes,
day, all night.
Same shirt, too.
Nothing.
All day, all night, all day, all night, all day.
Yeah.
And then all night tonight.
Well, there you go.
I went and rinsed my underwear off in the lake, so I'm good to go for another 3 days. Second thing we learned is we learned to be dirty. I mean, you learned to be dirty.
Smelly.
Like smelly and just
Like
not
being okay with that?
Being okay with not showering every day. See, I've been always okay with that.
Looking back on some of our old videos, like in Cold Island, after we got stranded for the 48 hours.
Hadn't showered in 2 days, fun fact. Never have I ever gone that long without showering.
That was the first time I'd gone more than like 24 hours without showering ever.
Yeah, see,
Like I'm a 2 shower a day person. That's not great for your skin, but that's me.
Well,
So
we balance each other out because I, in turn, don't shower for a few days.
I actually had to train myself leading up to the trip by like not showering every second day.
I've never been around you and been like,
Chris.
oh wow, you smell ripe.
The smell at the end of the trip when we went to Huronia Midland Airport.
Yeah.
The smell coming off the 2 of us, it was rank.
2.5.
2.5. And then we learned to keep the helicopter cool in the heat.
Yes, we did. So this thing, being a big plexiglass bubble, turns into a greenhouse whenever we're in direct sunlight. So we've kind of come up with a solution where you just put the bubble cover on at all times. And it should be on when we're in direct sunlight. Sustained UV exposure to plexiglass is not good for it. So we put the bubble cover on and it's like night and day difference in the heat that this thing collects without the bubble cover. It's crazy. So we'll put that on until we're actually ready to depart. And then at the last minute, take it off, fold it up, stick it in the back, and then get out of here. So we try to reach in and grab stuff with the bubble cover still on. And that way we can keep keep this thing from heating up.
So before we move on, I want to say a huge thank you to VidIQ for sponsoring this video. We use VidIQ to help us come up with video ideas, titles, and to see what's trending in our broad niche. It's made the process of coming up with new video ideas and finding better performing titles a lot easier.
New feature here, customized ideas. Let's see what they've got going on here. Ooh, camping with a helicopter, a thrilling experience. I could like combine the best clips from heading north and make like a little film. The thing I love about this is that yes, it gives you a title and an idea, but you don't have to use that exact idea. For me, I use this as a little spark for, coming up with ideas and using the suggested titles as a guide, and then I'll kind of tweak those from there. Solo flying and how to talk to ATC over the radio part 1. That's interesting. I could totally make a video about how we talk to ATC. Didn't even think to do that, so that's a cool one.
So if you are working on growing your YouTube channel and you want to check out VidIQ, you can get a 1-month trial for $1 using our link in the description box. And if you want to support the series and our channel, consider checking out that affiliate link. We've been using VidIQ for years.
Now they know our secret sauce.
Number 3 on our list is that we learned what food works for us and what doesn't work for us. During the posting of the series, some of you guys were kind of disgusted and also grilled us for bringing freeze-dried meals. They're actually made to replace all of the things that you burn off when you're backpacking, when you're actually hiking. So the freeze-dried meals are actually perfect for us. 1, because they're super light and easy to use and they don't require cleanup, but 2, because we were crossing the border, we could not bring fresh fruits, vegetables, and meat. The freeze-dried meals were the best alternative for us to be able to get the protein and all the things that we would need from a meal. Logistically, they just made the most sense.
We would have loved to grill on the side of the, over a fire.
I would have loved to have apples and bananas and all sorts of stuff like that. But going forward, we're definitely going to keep with the freeze-dried backpacking meals. They worked really good. We're going to try a couple of different flavors next time. Maybe something that's less dumpling based, because those things didn't really rehydrate that well. It was really nice on some of those hot days at the end of the day when you're tired, just to have a comfort meal of like mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Because we were going in the helicopter, we were able to bring as much as we wanted.
Yeah.
I think we brought the minimum amount that we were comfortable with, and we used pretty much every single thing we brought.
Things like we had enough food to last us for a lot longer.
We've done this before. We know that weather can roll in and we can get stranded a place. Why would for days?
Yeah.
Why would we pack less?
When you don't have to.
When you don't have to. The other thing I'll add is instant oatmeal is disgusting. Disgusting.
I thought the kit worked.
Next time we will be able to bring some fruits and vegetables because we're going to be traveling within the US.
Buddy, we should just land in Sobeys parking lot.
Yes, bye. We actually have a full blog post on every single bit of food that we brought, what worked, what didn't work, on our website, beckyandchris.com. I'll link it in the description box if you want to check it out.
So number 4 is we didn't really learn to listen to our gut.
We always listen to our gut.
It reinforced the concept of listening to our gut.
Yes.
And our gut feeling was, we've had 3 nights, 4 solid days out in the wilderness. If we stay another day, we might get stuck another 3 days based on the weather. Let's get back home. We've got 4 solid days in the bank rather than being 4 solid days and 3 miserable days at the end. We also listened to our gut on that first island that we landed on too.
Ever since we started flying, we have learned to roll with the punches, but again, reinforced rolling with the punches. With the first island, we tried to land in like a bunch of different places, and it was just like...
We got flat ground initially, but it wasn't like as stable as I wanted. You can land with 3 points of contact, and you're basically a tripod. But if you're not perfectly balanced, there is some flexing that goes on. So I'd rather kind of have a nice firm footing. And especially if we have the time, you might as well just try to get a nice firm footing on the ground. So we tried to land in a bunch of areas in that one island, but the rocks were very uneven. Then we kind of like looked around and it was near some people's private property. So there's like a cabin around the corner. So it wasn't like as remote as we wanted it to be.
And there was like dead fish all over the place that were all like half eaten.
Yeah, so there's clearly animal activity there, and it was very close to the actual shore. There's so many islands we can choose from. Like this one's just not vibing with us.
So we left that one, and then we were going to go to the second island where earlier I wanted to land there immediately. I know you want to scope out the rest of them, but I kind of just like want to do it now.
I mean, we got time and fuel and hours to burn.
So we'll come back and like...
There's not going to be anybody at the spot.
And somebody did take the spot. There's now a guy in the spot. That was our second spot. So now, out of the 2 spots we had picked that we liked the best, none of them were feasible. So we had to, obviously we put it down. Yeah. We looked around and then we picked a new spot, which ended up being so perfect. And I'm so glad we ended up on that campsite.
Something about the first site when we got there just didn't feel good. It's funny because I was so excited about that one. It was just, I wasn't feeling it. And then the second site was just not interested in being next to somebody, but here we are on this one.
So the 5th thing that we learned...
What did we learn, Becky? What did we learn? What was the 5th thing we learned?
Well, it's shocking. We learned to face our fears. And Chris is like a person who doesn't really have many fears.
I mean, you gotta like define fears, because I think like you oftentimes get that like gut-dropping, impending sense of doom, like pure
the
fear response.
Yeah.
I can probably count on one hand the number of times I've ever felt that in my entire life.
I feel it almost every single time we're flying the helicopter.
Really?
Oh my gosh, we're going so fast. Why are we going so fast?
Descending.
If it's bumpy.
I don't really have like fears per se, but I just have like aversions to being uncomfortable or putting myself in uncomfortable situations.
You said this was like nothing scares you more.
Have you ever faced a fear to get a shot? Anyway, well, I faced one of mine. One of my few fears, actually. Being in the ocean in pitch black. If I was out in the middle of the ocean in the middle of the night, pitch black with no visual reference, floating on a little bobbing piece of wood.
Oh, so you're like Leonardo DiCaprio in the Titanic?
Yes, if I was on the Titanic, and then like something brushed it, like that to me, that like makes, that would probably give me a fear response. And it was kind of a watered down version because this is clearly not the ocean. But it's a large lake, but it wasn't the open lake. It was just this little tiny shallow lagoon we have here. I was trying to shoot some astrophotography. I saw the Milky Way coming up like this, and I was like, oh my God, the Milky Way arches over.
You could see it with your eyeballs?
Yeah. So I was like, oh, it'd be cool if we could get like an arch, a panorama with the Milky Way arching over the campsite. I was trying to like figure out how I was gonna align myself. And then I realized it required me to be standing in the water, in the pitch black. It was a combination of like wading out into waters in the dark, and I didn't really, and I kind of got a little bit of that when I thought like, ooh, something could brush against my ankle or something.
See, something could.
It could, yeah.
It could, what if?
But then like, the other thing is like, I just know it's like,
what if?
it's really slimy.
Okay.
Right? It's the fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
It's the fear of the unknown. This
so
is like therapy. I'm figuring out all of my bad feelings. So I just kind of just waded out into ankle deep water, had no idea what was there, was hoping nothing would brush against my leg. I don't have like many irrational fears. Those little worms, I don't like worms. And like water
Amoeba.
and night. Yeah, and
Parasites.
amoebas.
Well, I mean, there's a difference between like feeling like you're going to die and that panic that surrounds that, and the fear response of like, what if this happens? That's two different things.
What if an amoeba goes up my nose and then starts growing in my brain?
That happens.
Yeah.
That's a realistic concern.
Amoebiasis, I know.
You went out there at night to get your picture, didn't film it.
No.
That entire scene in the episode 4, we had to recreate in the bathtub.
It's true, we did recreate the scene.
Stuck it in there.
Yeah.
Here's a room you've never seen before. This is our basement bathroom, which is probably gonna be one of the last projects we tackle in this house, but this is not a home renovation video, this is VidIQ.
I was the only person that actually was responsible for having this photo and this story.
You know what this is? World's smallest violin. I always film videos of myself filming videos. Crimey River.
Snoozing in the camp in the tent.
You could've woke me up. So we're gonna be creating an abstract water scene down here. Dramatization in the bath. No idea this is gonna work out, but we are going to try it. Okay, kill the lights. And we're gonna use this little Lume Cube light panel with this little thing just to add a little bit of light. So it doesn't look like the ground at all. I'm gonna go super tight and like really out.
It's always kind of fun when there's a storytelling element in a video that we don't have B-roll of. The storytelling is actually adds something to the video, but you need visuals to go along with it. So how can we make a visual to go along with the story and make it feel like you actually shot it while you were there? And usually it's like, how can we make this abstract? Let's make it dark. Let's make it kind of out of focusy. Well, we don't usually use stock footage, but that could be an option. A lot of sound effects.
Yes, that's it. Oh my God.
Or if I wasn't a terrible YouTuber and I just happened to realize that this was gonna be something in the video or a good story, side story. You fell asleep to your movie. Did you even know that I was gone?
You're like, look at this picture!
Clearly I didn't care about your slumber that much. Anyway, that was my story about facing fears to get the shot. And here's an example of the shot here.
My fear going into this was bears.
Oh, she is Bear-a-noid.
Because we're new to the wilderness, we're new to camping, so bears kind of freak me out. I did the thing that I probably shouldn't do, and I read information and
bear
research
attack stories.
about scary stories about bear attacks.
I was worried at night, being in the tent, dark, with you asleep, that a bear was going to come and like maul us at night. Because of that, I was also afraid of sleeping, like once it got dark. What's that sound?
You have to be okay with sounds, honey.
I think like going through the motions of putting the bear canister away and then finding a site to use a bathroom and it's like all far away. It's like, okay, we've done it now. Let's bring that scenario to the woods and then see if it's still scary.
Like, we're not experienced campers.
Not at all. We were forced to camp on Cold Island, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this trip. We camped during heading east last year, season 1 of this series, on an island in the middle of the Thousand Islands region. That's glamping, let's be honest. It was a mowed lawn. We haven't really gone ever on a camping trip. I'm starting to get used to the feeling of being sticky and stinky.
I mean, when we went into this, I was fully expecting that we were going to be in the woods.
I think the islands worked way better. We had far less bugs.
Yeah.
There were a couple key moments like in the late evening where the bugs came out hard.
Yeah.
But then like they disappeared. There you go, so you faced your bear fear.
And you faced your amoeba fear. Okay, so that's 5/8 things that we learned on our trip. I hope you guys enjoyed this little look into the behind the scenes of this.
Yeah.
Thought process, etc. If you missed the series, I will link it up here. 5 episodes. Thanks to VidIQ for supporting this video. We will catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.
All right, camp broken down. Whoop, this thing went up my butt. I was giving our viewers a bathroom tour.
Oh, and somebody walked in?
And someone walked in. I just looked at her, I was like the most awkward look on my face, like,
just filming in the bathroom.
yeah, just
no
filming
big
myself in
deal.
the bathroom, no big deal. Ah, the life of a YouTuber.
All right, there you go. 5.3 things we learned down below.
That math
corner.
is not right.
5.3?
If it's 0.5, 0.5, and 0.5, then it's 1.5, which means it's 6.5.
Oh, I was including each one as a 1/10.
Oh.
All right, so there's 5/8 things we learned.
Okay, we just... long hair.